Hello again, this is Philip Steiger at thebest3d.com with Project Dogwaffle and another quick look at some of the recent developments coming up for version 9.1. As you may recall, in 9.0 we released a ray tracer, Puppy Ray, and we are getting ready to have two versions of it. One is the CPU-based ray tracer, Puppy Ray CPU, and that was the one in 9.0, and we have now a newer one coming, Puppy Ray GPU, which is accelerated by the GPU. So to give you an idea, perhaps a comparison of how these work, let's just walk through what you might want to do with that. It's a ray tracer that works at this point from elevation maps. So if you use plasma noise and perhaps make it seamless, you might use something like this as a terrain plasma noise turning into an elevation map. But other users might be, for instance, with a brick texture, to say, oh, let's go create a texture like this and render that. So what does that do for us? What we can do is go to, first of all, store that, because we'll probably want to go to it several times. Store this and see what happens if we render that into a 3D. Puppy Ray with the CPU first. The slower mode works, it's nice, it's predictable, it's pretty awesome actually, and you can have all sorts of viewing controls. There's a sky, you have a couple of skies to choose from, one with the sun setting there. There's a couple of other things you can do with it, but let's say you wanted to have some sort of a backdrop like so, and you want it to fade to white. That's so now we don't have the custom brush defined. So what if we need the white background there, just plain white? So what we need to do is make that the custom brush. So let me just switch to the swap buffer temporarily, pick this up as a custom brush, and you're done. You have this as a white sky dome, so to speak. And I'm going to switch back, and I don't need a preview of the brush, but it's now there. It's the custom brush currently loaded, and if we go back into the Puppy Ray ray tracer, we can switch it to this white sky, and so now we do have this white sky available. And of course, maybe we want it to fade without this blue transition. That's the current color of the fog here. So if we make this plain white, we will have a nice sort of a transition. We can change the fog distance to go farther or come closer. And we can also change the intensity of the light, and most importantly, enable the global illumination. So the sky all around us is becoming part of the light source as well. And in fact, we can see that it gets a little bit of a bluish tint if we get the blue sky in, or if we get the red sky, we get a bit of a reddish tint. And this is right now a preview quality. Let's go render it in medium quality and ray trace that. So we can see this here. And it's a bit dark still, perhaps too much extrusion. Let's say we want just a little bit, so I'm going to scale it less, just a tiny little bit like so. And let's see, what else might we do? Perhaps, I would say change the quality to high and ray trace that. Alright, so this gives you an idea of how you can create some interesting 3D looking backdrops, backgrounds, graphic elements, and you can also animate those. But I don't want to go into that now. I want to do a comparison of the speed that you can get if you have a nice graphics card with some higher end GPU. Now, I'm not on a very high end latest generation GPU. I'm using a GeForce GTX 560M. It's about 3 years old on a laptop, so it's certainly not the fastest, but it'll give you an idea. Now, I'm going to do a render here at final render and go. Alright, so this final render, I'm actually going to have to cancel it because it's going to take too long. Right, this is on the GPU right now, excuse me, on the CPU. This is still the my second generation i7 processor, and it's just going to take probably a minute or two to render. because of the high quality anti-aliasing and so on. So if I don't want that, and instead I want it faster, I can use the GPU version. And I'm going to stop the rendering here. This takes a second even to stop. There you go. And so now this time, let's load the same pattern here and get the transform puppy ray, and this time we go to puppy ray GPU. Now the two are separate modules, so they don't share the transform settings. The interface also has changed here a little bit. We may see similar changes in the CPU version, I don't know when, but at this point here we have a slightly larger preview, but most importantly you can see that as I'm navigating through it, it is immediately rendering it full-blown in the entire image as well. So if I'm rotating here, if I'm changing the angle, if I'm changing the sky, if I'm changing the color of the fog, all of those things I can see immediately in the full screen preview. We also have global illumination there now, and I can change the quality to high quality or even final render, and there it is. Let's say perhaps we want to change the depth of extrusion a little bit, the scale, and let's see, something like so. And so that's the nice thing, is that you can get there in a heartbeat. I mean, it's very fast and responsive. You can go reduce the pre-filter a little bit, and yeah. So you know, you can see that there is some interesting uses for that, because if you really just need to create a backdrop of some sort of graphic, perhaps for web use or illustration, it might just get you there much faster. Of course, you will want to have a decent graphics card or a good GPU on there. All right, thanks for watching, and I hope this is coming to you really soon.